Morena Tautau, good morning everyone and welcome to this meeting of the Regulatory and Consents Committee. Do I have any apologies? Obviously not, everyone's here. And so the next item is a leave of absence. Are there any leaves of absence to be noted? And conflicts of interest regarding any of the matters on the agenda today? There are none. Okay, so we can move now to public forum, and we have here today Ms. Wendy Baker. Welcome. You're welcome to come forward, Wendy. Just like to, there's 5 minutes for, I'll allow 5 minutes for speaking with questions after.
Lovely. Okay. Good morning. Thank you for letting me present at your meeting. Firstly, I'd like to do some praising. So the article in the first edition, good to see, regarding dog control, government's code of welfare for dogs. I wasn't aware of that, so good on you for putting something like that in there. It's very important to hear about dogs. Also, just like to praise the signs at Riverton regarding dog control. Yeah, especially this one here. I'll pass that around. It's on leash area. Dogs must be on a leash, and it says about infringement fees apply. So I thought that was really, really good. If you haven't seen that, it's really good. So well done on getting that message out there. Unfortunately, I have seen a few dogs that are not being kept on leads where they should be in different areas in Southland, and that includes Riverton, Nightcats, Otautau and Winton areas. Also seen a few dogs in the no dogs area of Holt Park. This is a photo I took of our station in Holt Park. Holt Park is a no dogs area in Otautau, and there have been 2 wandering dogs in Nightcats during July, and a dog in the playground at Memorial Park in Nightcats. And I've actually asked for some additional signs to Fran and to team. I'd like to suggest more patrols in these areas, and including Lumsden, because I saw a dog in a playground there also in July. I sent around my new petition yesterday about fairer customer complaint follow-up and compassion from local councils. It is important to acknowledge that complaints are individually relevant and that all the Dog Control Act obligations of dog owners are looked at relevant to an individual's circumstance. This is fair, and I'd like to repeat that the Dog Control Act obligations of dog owners are looked at and valued on an individual basis, and this is fair. In particular, I would like to mention barking. Over the last 4 years, 2006 to 2019, from the SPC Council reports, there have been a total of 653 barking complaints. I would like to read you the statement from a person who has concerns about barking issues like myself. To whom it may concern, I agree with Wendy Baker in regards to dogs barking at people while they are on their own property or out and about enjoying their lives. Not only is dog barking annoying, it is also stressful for people and the dogs. If the dog is so unhappy that they bark to the point of being a nuisance to others, it is my belief that the dog is stressed and clearly voicing their unhappiness. Therefore, the owner of the dog needs educating on how to care for their dog. It is not unreasonable for peace and comfort for all animals and people. Council should understand an individual's circumstance and care more. People should not be harassed by dogs or their owners. If you choose to own a dog, you then become responsible for having control over the animal and a duty to deal with any issues that may come up along the way. It's a sad day for New Zealand when councils don't take these matters seriously. Thanks, kind regards, Teresa Wilson. She's from Southland. It's important that councils take all dog control issues seriously and formally educate dog owners on their obligations under the Dog Control Act 1996. Regarding dog bite injuries, I sent around information from ACC yesterday to all the councillors. There are still high numbers, thousands of dog bite injuries happening in New Zealand, as you will have seen. You will see that my petition, Make New Zealand a Safer Country regarding dog control, got presented to Parliament last year, and I was asked to make a submission, which is on the Parliament website this year. I care about seeing a better New Zealand overall regarding dog control. Yesterday, I also sent a copy of a letter from ACC which says that local councils are responsible for enforcing the Dog Control Act 1996. There is also a letter from the Minister from Local Government which says about councils responding to complaints and enforcing dog owner responsibility. Over the last 4 years, 2016 to 2019, SDC reports show that there were 182 dog attacks in Southland area. So you can see that I am still very active and caring about dog issues.
Okay, let's take it. The 5 minutes is up now.
As stated before, I would like to suggest that SDC assess complaints on an individual basis and apply dog owner obligations in a fair way. Otherwise, person has a right to contact the Ombudsman, which I might have to do again. People have the right to enjoy their life and not be distressed from dogs. Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, thank you for that presentation. Are there any questions?
Just a comment. Once again, Ms. Baker has brought a lot of things to our attention.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Oh, well, thank you for your coming. Presenting. Thank you. Okay, so we move now to the next item, extraordinary urgent items, which I understand is none. And then, so now we move to the minutes, the confirmation from the meeting on the 11th, which is on page 8 and 9. Would someone like to move they be taken as read and they are a true record of that meeting? Thank you, Councillor Menzies. Seconder, please. Councillor Keast. All in favour, please say aye. No matters arising. That's very good. Okay, so we move now to reports. The first one being Freedom Camping, isn't it? Yes. We have Freedom Camping in the Catlins on page 13, item 7.1. Mr. Savidi, welcome. Thank you. Good morning. It's all yours.
Thank you. So the purpose of this report is for me to consider the recommendations from the Waihapai Toto Community Board meeting on the 30th of June. And they were to recommend the removal of the presence of the Weirs Beach designated camping site from apps and council's website, and the other to seek to change the self-contained designated site at Waikawa from where it is at the moment to beside the toilets. So at Weirs Beach, council in 2015 continued to have that area designated as a freedom camping site when they reviewed the freedom camping bylaw, because it was a popular holiday spot for locals. But since then it's become very popular and overcrowded, and there's not enough toilets, for example. And there's about 30 or 50 vehicles there every day during summertime. And so what the solution that's recommended here is just simply to remove it from the apps to make it hopefully almost invisible to the tourists, and that should reduce the overcrowding. In regard to Waikawa, there was TIF funding granted to upgrade the toilet disposal field. So Mark's team chose to also seal the car park next to it with some of that funding, with the intention of making it a freedom camping site in time. So, so that's more or less what we're recommending here. There are wet weather problems with the existing one by the water there, And also, I guess, a benefit of the new site is closer to, and they do use them even if it's a self-contained site only. So the next steps is that this committee can authorise the removal of Wes Beach from the Acts. There's no further approval required. So if the committee agrees to that, then I'll go ahead and see if I can get that done. In regard to Waikawa, the next step, if this committee agrees to it, is for me to consult with neighbours by the site, which is only about 3 of them, and get their feedback. And then I go back to council, and then they can amend the bylaw to make the other site the designated site. And you can do that without the full consultation process. All that's required is feedback from the neighbours there, and that's all that's required. And then the council can go ahead and amend it with no further ado. So I'm happy to take any further questions.
Thank you, Michael. Any questions or comments? Yes. Councillor Fraser?
Just wondering, obviously, if there's overcrowding and we'll move the gap, where would that likely to send the people to? Is it likely just to move a problem to somewhere else? Management mitigation in there?
I guess the next couple of years, you won't have numbers we have previously,
Yeah, obviously.
but you've got the other sites could absorb more. You also got the 2 dock sites as well, which are nearby. But then again, if it becomes a problem, I guess if it does become a problem, you're getting near to the time that the bylaw is to be reviewed, and that council may have different views on freedom camping. So they could have a bit of a play with the rules out there potentially. But I would say that the next several years, it really shouldn't be too much of a problem, presuming DOC keeps those sites open.
Yeah, well, as you stated, it's already been to the local community board, and there was actually some very good press coverage around that at that time, which we received quite a lot of feedback from members of the public. So the review of the bylaw, I understand it's 2 years away yet, if I got that right.
2025.
Oh, it's another.
The council could pull it forward a year or two if they wanted to, if they were a problem with something.
Program, it's not till then. Any other questions? Okay, well, I think it's quite clear what is being asked for here. So would someone like to move the recommendation, please? Councillor Keys, seconder, please. Councillor Ruddenclaw. Any other discussion? In that case, all in favour, please say aye. Anyone against? It's carried. Thank you very much for your work on this, Mr. Serene. So we move now to public excluded. And so the recommendation that the public be excluded from the following